Hello dear students and welcome back to the video lectures of social science for class 8th. Today I will be providing you the first chapter of civics, that is the Indian Constitution. Students, this chapter will come in two parts. So in this chapter we will learn about the concept of rule and law. We will learn what is a constitution and how a constitution is important for the smooth functioning of any country. So let us start the part 1 of this chapter, but first let's have a quick view on the content. Okay, so the content is, firstly we are going to learn about the introduction. Next we are having what is a constitution. Next we will be learning about that why do we need a constitution, that means why India needs a constitution. Okay, after that we will learn about the Indian Constitution, then Constituent Assembly, then we will learn about framing of the constitution, then we are having importance of the constitution and the preamble and its features. So this is about, and the last one is a brief look on the features of the Indian Constitution. So these are the content of this part. So let's have a look and start the chapter. So students, constitution, okay, as all of us are knowing that it's been 70 years ago that our country was under the British rule. Britishers exploited our country and it affected India. It made India weaker politically, economically, as well as socially. When India got its freedom in 1947, it was required for the government or for the leaders of the country so that they decide that how to develop the nation. Okay, since we were the colony of the Britishers, so it was a major responsibility of our leaders to make India an independent nation, and for that they have to look upon each and every aspect of the society, each and everything, whether it is political, economical, or social structure of the society. So for that only there was a need of constitution. As all of us are knowing that India is such a diverse nation, it was a very big challenge in front of the leaders to decide, to plan that how the constitution of India will look like. Okay, so it was very difficult the to handle the people, those who belong to various region, those who belongs to various religion, those who follow or those who used to speak different kinds of languages. So India was such a diverse nation, it was very difficult to provide equality to each and every one citizen of the country. Okay, so for that there was a guaranteed need of a constitution. So the people of India needs a constitution that protects and guarantees some rights, rights that empower the people. Okay? It was required that there should be something, there should be some written rules and regulations, okay, so that no one can become authoritarian or dictator, or no one can hold the power, okay, so that no single person can hold the power in itself. Okay, so that is why we need a constitution. So with this, the Constitution of India, so here we are going to learn about, we are learning about the journey that how the Constitution of India came into existence. We will be learning about what is it about, okay, we will be learning about what is it based on, and we will be learning about what are its features. So let's start this journey. Now let's talk about some games. Okay, students, games, whether the game is indoor, whether the game is outdoor. If take example of cricket also, cricket also have several rules and regulations. Like that only, if you will take just an example of an indoor game, that is Ludo or chess, there also some rules and regulations are there. Okay, so rules and regulations are necessary in every field of life, whether it is a game. Game is a best example to understand that why rules and regulations are needed in the society. If rules and regulations will not be there, so playing game will become difficult. Okay, there will be chaos, people will start fighting among themselves. Okay, no result will come out of the game, like one is a winner, one is a loser. So it will become difficult to recognize, to know that who win the match or who loses the match. So that is why, like that only, for the country also we need several rules and regulations to govern the country. Okay, take example of that only, cricket. Okay, any match, whether you take example of football, cricket, in every game we need rules and regulations. We need rules and regulations in game so that we can decide the winner as well as the loser. We need so that the functioning or the game must go on smoothly. Okay, so let's move further. Can you imagine a game without rule? Or imagine your school without a rule one day. Okay, so what will happen? We can say that rules are the fundamental principles. What are rules? Rules are the fundamental principles for the working of any system. Okay, therefore we can say that a written document in which we find such rules to govern a country is called a constitution. Like that only, take example that your school is a country and you are coming to the and you are the citizen of this country. Okay, now you are provided with an almanac or your diary, okay, your school diary, in which you record your daily records, as well as there are several written rules and regulations in your diary. So for your school, the almanac or the diary is only the constitution for your school. Like that only, every country has its constitution. Okay, so the written in which the written rules and regulations of the country are documented. Okay, now without proper set of rule, a system cannot work properly, which results in malfunctioning and failure of that system. If in You can imagine your school without a rule one day. Okay, whenever you feel like coming, you are coming to the school. Whatever you feel like wearing, you are wearing and coming to the school. You are not bringing your copybooks to the school. You are not sitting at your one place. So there will be chaos. It will become difficult to handle each and everyone in the school. So like that only, rules and regulations are also required in the country so that everyone can live happily, peacefully, and in harmony. Okay, so let's have a look. The rules to govern a country are formulated through consensus. Now, what is the meaning of consensus? Okay, what is the meaning of consensus? Consensus means the agreement of the people. Okay, which means by the agreement of the people. In most of the countries, this consensus is available in written form. That means whatever rules and regulations are forming, all of you are knowing that in any country, we have already learned a law is formed by the legislative body, and the members of the legislative body are called legislatures. These legislatures are elected by the citizens of the country. So indirectly we can say that we citizens of the country are only participating in the formation of the laws. Okay, so the written document in which we find the laws, the rules that are formulated by the citizens of the country, yeah, on the behalf of the country, through which the government governs us, is called a constitution. Okay, so you have to remember something. Most of the modern countries in the world have written constitution. Most of the countries are having written constitution, and mostly of them are democratic. All of you are knowing that what is democratic? Democratic means in a country where people are having rights to vote and choose their representatives. All of you are knowing that what is democracy? The government that is formed by the people. Okay, or that the people choose the representatives, and those representatives only form the government. But it is not necessary that countries that have constitution are democratic. Remember one thing, it is not necessary that the countries those who are having constitution, they should be democratic. Okay, but we can say that there are several democratic countries those who are having their constitution. Okay, so it means that there are countries that do have a constitution, but the nature of the government may not be democratic. Okay, so let's move further and learn about some more things. So here is the correct definition of constitution is given. You can take the screenshot or note it down it somewhere. The constitution is a set of written rules and regulations according to which a country is governed. Now what will happen if constitution will not be there? If there are no written rules, people ruling over country might do so according to their own whims. That means the people, those who are ruling us, they will start doing their whatever they feel like. So it is important, especially in a democratic country, that the government functions according to clearly laid down rules. Now, why do we need a constitution? Why the people of India needs a constitution? India gained independence from the British rule on 15th August 1947. At that time, the leaders of the country realized that they have become colony for a very long time. Okay, so it was the foremost concern of the leaders of the country to develop the nation. For the success of the democracy, it was also required that all the people should be treated equally in the country so that democracy is successful. Okay, before it, we were having monarchy. All of you are knowing that we were having the rulers, those who were ruling us. We have learned about Mughal Empire, Delhi Sultanate, and all those. Okay, after that also, when the Britishers came, at that time also the Queen was sitting in Britain. She was ruling us with the helps of agents known as Viceroy or Secretary of the State. Okay, so for the success of the democracy, it is very important. So the people of the country get equal rights. For that, we need a constitution. To achieve all this, it was important to have written rules, regulations, and rights according to which the country could be governed, and that is why we need a constitution. Now, the Indian Constitution. What is the Indian Constitution? As I'll explain you, Indian Constitution, remember this thing, is the supreme law of the country. Indian Constitution is the supreme law of the country, according to which only the country is governed. Everything in the country, whether it is a law, whether it is regarding the government, whether it is regarding the protection of the country, whether it is regarding state, their capital, languages, everything is decided according to the constitution of the country. So that is why the Constitution of India is also known as the supreme law of the country. Okay? Now, in this, everything is given. Okay, the Constitution of India provides the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties of the people. It decides what are the political principles. It decides what is the structure of the government, the procedures of the government, the powers as well as the duties of the government. Everything is mentioned in that. Okay, so this is only the Indian Constitution. Okay, and it is the longest written constitution in the world. Our Constitution of India is the longest and the lengthiest. We can say that longest, lengthiest, and the bulkiest constitution in the world. Okay. Now, how are constitution formed or framed? Okay, who are the famous personalities, those who have participated in the framing of the constitution? So for the framing of the Constitution of India was framed by a constituent assembly. Please remember this, the Constitution of India was framed by a constituent assembly that was set up under the cabinet mission in 1946. Okay, this constituent assembly was set up in 1946. Okay, and it was decided, it was a 7-member committee. One drafting committee was formed under constituent assembly, and that drafting committee was a committee of 7 members that was given the power to frame the constitution. Frame the constitution means to prepare a plan, to prepare a rough plan, that is known as draft of the constitution. Okay, and the chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Okay, so let's have a look. Constituent assembly. The members of the Constituent Assembly were elected members of the provincial assemblies. Okay, provincial means the local assemblies, the assemblies that were in the provinces. We will be learning about this in history, that how provincial assemblies work. Okay, assemblies like today we are having legislative assembly and legislative council, like that only Britishers also provided us with legislative assemblies, or we can say that provincial assemblies. Okay, so the members of the Constituent Assembly are also elected from those provincial assemblies. Okay, in that Jawaharlal Nehru was there, C. Rajagopalachari was there, Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Nalini Ranjan Ghosh, and Balwant Singh Mehta. Okay, so these are the members of the assembly. Now let us move further and learn about who was the first president of the Constituent Assembly. Okay, so the first president of the Constituent Assembly was Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. He was just a temporary president. Okay, after that, Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the permanent president of our Constituent Assembly. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, if it will ask first, so it will be Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Okay, because he was on temporary basis. Okay, after that only Rajendra Prasad became the president. Later on, who was the chairman of the drafting committee? So the chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Now let's move further and we will learn about how the Constitution of India framed. As I have explained you, we were having the timeline. The Constitution of India took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days in the framing, and the total cost was 6.4 million. Okay, so now meetings were held. The members of the Constituent Assembly or different assemblies, committees of the Constituent Assembly held meetings. The very first meeting, the Constituent Assembly was framed on 6th December 1946. As I have explained you that the Constituent Assembly was framed according to the Cabinet Mission on 6th December 1946. After that, the Assembly held its first meeting on 9th December 1946 in the Constitution Hall. Okay, and later on lots of different processes took place. Objective resolution was passed in the assembly. Jawaharlal Nehru passed the objective resolution. Okay, then the assembly adopted the national flag of the country. Okay, and after that only lots of discussions and debates goes on, what should be there in the constitution, what should not be there in the constitution, what powers, duties, all were decided by the members of the constitution. And finally on 26th November 1949 the constitution of India was passed. Okay, it was just passed. Okay, and on 20, after that one more last meeting was held on 24th January 1950, the day when the constitution was framed, that is 26th November is considered as the Constitution Day of India. Okay, when it was passed, it is known as Constitution Day of India. But the constitution was adopted later, that is on 26 January 1950, and this day is celebrated as the Republic Day of the country. After that, we will be having, remember this thing, and this is most important. If the question comes that when was the Constitution of India adopted, our answer will adopted is asking. When the Constitution was passed or adopted, our answer will be 26 November 1949. But when it was asked that when it enforced for the people or when it came into effect, so it will be 26 January 1950. After that, we will be having what are the importance of the constitution. Okay, why do we need a constitution? So the constitution clearly defines the powers and functions of the elected representatives who governs the country as well as the rights of the citizen. In the Constitution of India, the fundamental rights or certain basic rights of the citizens are given. Okay, these rights are provided each and every citizen of the country without any discrimination. As we are knowing that India is a democratic country and we elect our representatives, those who form the government on behalf of us. So it is very important. So the people, those whom we are choosing, okay, they should work properly. So for that only constitution is important, because in that constitution the powers and functions of those representatives are clearly defined. Next one is the constitution also tries to uphold the unity, fraternity of the people, or it holds the diversity of the country. After so much diversity also, constitution tries to uphold equality, as well as it writes that everyone brotherhood in the country. Okay, the constitution also defines the nature of the country's political system. All of us are knowing that India follows the parliamentary form of government. Okay, the government of India has three organs, that is legislature, executive, judiciary. Everything is mentioned in the constitution. The constitution seeks to establish social justice also and the rule of law also. It is the responsibility of the constitution that everyone gets equal justice, or everyone is treated equal before law. Okay, so it is also mentioned in the constitution that everyone should be treated equally without any kind of discrimination. After that, why the constitution is important? The constitution is important because it provides certain privileges to the backward societies. It provides certain privileges to the section of the society that is in minority. Okay, it gives privileges, it decides the benefits that are being provided to that society, to the minority society, so that they can also develop and come closer or come equal to the mainframe society. After that, we will be having the constitution abolishes unjust and discriminatory practices. Okay, the practices or the social evils that were existing in India, as we have seen that there was a system of practicing sati system, parda system, dowry system was there, child labor was there. Okay, widows were not treated properly. All these things were existing. Female poeticide was there, untouchability was there. So according to the constitution, now every social level is considered as a punishable offense. Okay, so for that also constitution is needed. After this, we are having the preamble of the constitution. What is the preamble? As all of you have, whenever you open your book, you got the first page of your book. Okay, the first page of your book, in which you get the introduction of your book. Okay, what are the things that we are going to discuss in the book, what are the objectives of the book, who wrote that book, and everything is mentioned in that now. So it is known as the preface page, the very first page of your book. Like that only, the preamble is also the preface page of our constitution. That means the preamble is the introduction page of the constitution that holds or that includes the principles or the objectives of the constitution upon which the constitution works. So what is preamble? Preamble is an introduction to the constitution. It is just like the preface page of a book, the first page, very first page, okay? What it highlights? It highlights the values and principles of the constitution, okay? That the constitution seeks to achieve. For what is the objective? Whole summary is there in the preamble of the constitution. The preamble of the constitution starts with, we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens. So here some words are there, okay, some terms are there. That is the principle, that is the core principles of a constitution. That is sovereign, India is a sovereign country, socialist, secular, democratic as well as republic. Okay, so let's have a look what are these terms signifies. First of all, sovereign is there. The word sovereign means supreme or the independent authority. What is the meaning of the word sovereign? Sovereign means supreme or independent authority. That means now India is free from external as well as internal functioning. Okay, India, the government of India is free to take decisions regarding the people of the country, as well as no country can interfere in the internal matters of India. Now as we have seen that Britishers exploited us, they make us our colony, so that is why there was a requirement of this sovereign term, so that we can be supreme authority of our nation. Okay, and it has a free government which is directly elected by the people and makes law that govern the people. After that we will be having a socialist term. So even before the term was added by the 42nd amendment in 1976, this socialist term was added later on in our constitution by the 42nd amendment of 1976. It was not there earlier, it was added afterwards. Okay, now in the form of certain directive principles of state policy, the term socialist here means democratic socialism. That what is the meaning of socialist? That in a society everyone is treated equally. Okay, no one has given that much privileges, no one is discriminated on the basis of caste or creed. That is only the socialist. That means everyone is treated equal in the society. Okay, after that we will be having secular. What is the meaning of secular? Secular means free of religion. As all of us are knowing that India is a nation in which the people following various religion lives. Some people follow Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Parsis are there, Jainism, Buddhism, lots of religions are there in India. Okay, so it was not possible for India to choose one religion. Okay, so India do not follow any religion as its official religion. India as a country is free from the topic of religion, but it doesn't mean that India is not going to work for the welfare of the religion. Okay, the constitution gives the responsibilities to the government to work for the betterment or for the welfare of the religion, but the state has to, the government has to free from the religion. After this, we will be having democratic, as we are knowing that in India, every people of the country is allowed to give vote. Okay, every one of us are allowed, the person those who attain the age of 18 are eligible to choose their representative, those who form the government. So that is only we the people of India, okay, give to ourselves this constitution. This clearly indicates that democratic spirit involved in the constitution. India is a democratic country. That means India is a democracy in which we people only elect our representatives. I hope it is clear to you. After that, we will be having one word, that is republic. As opposed to a monarchy in which the head of a state is appointed on hereditary basis. We have learned during the medieval period that after the king, his son become ruler, and after that son, his son become ruler. So the post of monarchy was hereditary. It was not on the basis of eligibility or qualification. Okay, but nowadays we will be having a republic government, a republic country. That means here we people only choose the head of the state. The head of the state has confined with some powers, okay, and he or she can be removed in case of any violation of the laws. After that, we will be having. So, what is democratic republic? India has two heads. Okay, one is the head of the government, that is the prime minister, whom we only choose, and the next one is the president, that is the head of the state, that is elected by the electoral college. Okay, after that there is justice. Justice means all of you are knowing that justice in every aspect of the society. that is political, social as well as equal. Every people is required, okay, or eligible to get justice in when something wrong happens to them. After this we will be having liberty. Liberty means freedom, okay. In India everyone is free. We are also having the right to equality as well as the right to freedom, okay. So right to freedom provides us that we can go anywhere, we can live our life freely, we can follow any religion, okay. We can prosper any profession, we can join anything, we can live peacefully in the society. That is only liberty, unless and until we are harming any person or we are harming any nation, okay. Equality, all of us are knowing that since India belongs to a lots of diversity, it was really important. So the people of country get equality, everyone should be treated equally, okay. So this is also the principle of the Constitution of India, okay. After that there is fraternity. Fraternity means brotherhood, the feeling of brotherhood, okay. Since India is such a diverse nation, okay, after this great diversity also we the people are bind as one, okay. That is we belongs to India, okay. So this is only the fraternity. That means the people those who are living in the country are belonging to themselves, okay. They live peacefully and with harmony. Okay, now let's have a look on the features of the Indian Constitution. What are the features? Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution, okay, longest written in the whole world. It is partly rigid as well as flexible. We will be learning about this in the second part, that what is the meaning of flexible as well as rigidity. India is a democratic republic, as I have already explained you. This is also the feature of the Indian Constitution. Parliamentary system of government. India follows parliamentary system of government. That means there is a parliament in which the members that we elected sits for us and they make laws for us. After that, India is a federation. That means India is a group of states and union territories. Fundamental rights. The Constitution of India provides certain basic fundamental rights to the people of the country. Directive principles of the state policy. The Constitution of India also gives certain directive principles to the state policy, certain policies to the state to work for the welfare of the people, those who are living in that particular state. We will be learning about all these in the second chapter. Fundamental duties, as we the citizen of India, or the Constitution of India provides us certain basic rights. Since we are the citizen of this country, we are also having certain duties regarding our country. Like if we are living in our home, while living in our home, we are also having some duties for our family, okay, like that only. We are living in this country and that is why we are having certain duties also for our country. Secular state, as I have explained you, India do not follow any official religion. And independent judiciary in India. Judiciary is totally independent from the executive and legislative organ of the government. After this, we are having the concept of single citizenship. That means at a time, a person can be a citizen of this country or another country. In India, there is no provision of the citizenship of the particular state also, as well as suppose that I am belonging to UP, Uttar Pradesh, and I am the citizen of India. So here it is not like that I will also have the citizenship of UP and India. I am properly belonging to India. Whether I belong to any state, I have the citizenship of India. So this is about the features of the Indian Constitution. So in the next part, we will be learning about that what are laws, okay? We will be learning about several laws also, okay? And so this is all for today. Please watch the video. If you have any query, you can ask through the Zoom classes. So thank you everyone.